Nebraska's offseason is in full swing, and all eyes are on the Huskers' incoming freshman, one of the most hyped up Nebraska recruiting classes in some time. So in today's video, I'm going to give you an update around how the early enrollees are performing, who was an early enrollee, who wasn't, and some breakout freshman players this far in the offseason. So really quick, we have a lot to get into, jam-packed video. Hit that like button if you're fired up, and also if you're a diehard Nebraska fan, you're unsubscribed. What are you waiting for? It would help me a lot. Please hit that subscribe button for daily Husker football content, practice updates, recruiting updates, and content you're going to get nowhere else. Please join the family. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, let's get into it, talking about Nebraska's incoming freshman class, particularly the early enrollees and how they're performing so far during winter conditioning. So right off the bat, who was an early enrollee out of Nebraska's recruiting class and who wasn't? Let's get into it. So all of the guys on the screen as of right now are early enrollees, meaning they're currently on campus, they're practicing with the team, they're done with high school. Four-star quarterback TJ Lateef, Jamarion Parker, Conor Booth, Cortez Mills, Isaiah Mozee, Jackson Carpenter, Houston Kahana Torres, Dawson Merritt, Christian Jones, Pierce Newberry, Bryson Weber, Caden Vermoss, and Tanner Turk. So every single one of those players are early enrollees. Now, as for the prospects who are not early enrollees and will get here in the summer, those guys are as follows. Jeremiah Jones, four-star wide receiver. All of our offensive linemen, for the most part, Juju Marks, Sean Hammerbeck, and Brian Tapu. And then all of our defensive linemen, Cade Peters, Zach Malcolm Simpson, and Tyson Terry. So those are the guys who didn't early enroll. Now, here's the dirty little secret. The guys who don't enroll early have a very bad chance of getting on the field as a true freshman because they're behind, right? All of these freshmen who enroll early, they're going to know the playbook. They're going to be accustomed with the team. And for the most part, every single freshman who got on the field last year, whether that was Dylan Raiola, whether that was Ja'Cory Barney, whether that was Vincent Shavers, whether that was Willis McGahee, all of those guys enrolled early. The only one who got on the field and didn't was Card Nelson. That's just Card Nelson. So if we're talking about guys who are going to play next year, those are probably not the players in the freshman class who will play. Especially on the O-line, D-line, those guys really would benefit from enrolling early from a weight standpoint, right? You want to put on weight with this conditioning, but it is what it is. Those guys will be producers later down the line. But for the sake of this video, we're going to talk about the guys who did enroll early and how they're performing so far, the breakout players. I want to get things started with the guy who, in my opinion, has impressed everybody the most out of all of these early enrollees. Now, take your pick. Who do you think I'm going to talk about? Will it be a TJ Lateef, a Jamarion Parker, a Cortez Mills? Wrong, and wrong. And we'll get to those guys. The one who has impressed everybody the most throughout his time with Nebraska so far has been Mr. Houston Kahana Torres. Now, this guy, of course, offensive lineman coming out of Hawaii, listed at 300 pounds, 6'3" interior offensive lineman. I put in my Super 6. I've been high on Houston Kahana Torres for a long time. I mean, just a guy who can play every single position on that offensive line. He has that Polynesian strength. He has really good weight on him, and he looks the part. I want to show you guys this picture. This was taken at the bowl game with all of the offensive linemen. Houston Kahana Torres is right here. Look at how big he is compared to everyone on the offensive line. Usually when you see, some of these freshmen, they're a little bit smaller. They need to put on weight. Houston Kahana Torres looks like he's been with the program for 3-4 years. I mean, this dude has a bunch of good weight on him already. He's been blown up so far on strength training. So I really like Houston Kahana Torres. The coaching staff feels the exact same way. If we're talking about a guy who could potentially, but even get some reps as a true freshman, this is the one you're talking about. It's Houston Kahana Torres, man, at that potential center spot or guard spot. Really like this guy, man, and that was a big pickup for Nebraska to get him out of Hawaii. But the reports already from winter conditioning is that he's been really good so far, man, putting on a lot of good weight, and I really feel good about his future along with Preston Tamoa, another Hawaii player who's going into his second year. So Houston Kahana Torres, the first guy I want to talk about, man. I've been impressed with what I've been hearing about him, but I also want to talk about a couple other true freshman early enrollees who have been blowing up. I've been hearing good things about them in winter conditioning so far, and we'll talk about winter conditioning later in the week, some other breakout players, but these are the breakout freshmen who I've been hearing good things about who might get on the field in the fall. Second guy is Conor Booth. Now, the one thing about Conor Booth that's interesting is that this guy really doesn't have to put on much weight. He's 210 pounds. Very few times in Nebraska football history does a running back as dynamic as Conor Booth come here, and he already has all good weight on him, and he's 210 pounds. Like, this dude does not have to put on weight, okay? So from a strength standpoint, he's already above the pack. Yeah, I just really think Conor Booth, he might, if he does all the right things, if he learns the playbook, he gets accustomed with Big Ten defenses, he's a very smart kid. We might be talking about a guy who could get on the field pretty early, kind of in a short yardage role. This is a guy I want to have my eyes on. I really want to have my eyes on. But from a weight standpoint, like, again, when he got to Nebraska, they weighed him in at 210. Like, that's very impressive for a running back. Most running backs come in here and they're 180. They're 185 at best. Man, this dude's 210. Like, that is very impressive. So I have my eyes in on Conor Booth. Third guy I want to talk about is Dawson Merritt. Now, so right now what they're doing in winter conditioning is basically they're just doing their weight training and they're running laps, right? They're just, it's conditioning, normal conditioning. There's no football training really going on at all. But Dawson Merritt, man, I feel like he really has the skill set to be an early player for Nebraska to play as a true freshman. There's a couple reasons. Obviously, he was the best signee in this Nebraska class, top 100 guy, perennial 5-star. He has that background of, being coached up from a young age. His dad, of course, a coach with the Kansas City Chiefs, so he's going to have the right mindset. He's a good kid, right? I talked with him back in the fall, right? He just has that good mindset. But I think Dawson Merritt, from an athletic standpoint, is already impressing people. And from a leadership standpoint, he's going to be a leader in this freshman class. Really like Dawson Merritt, the things I've been hearing so far, but it's all about him putting on weight, man. He's 210 pounds right now. Okay, when these guys that got to put on weight, from now to March before the football starts happening in spring ball. So Dawson Merritt, 210. I'd imagine this is probably incorrect. He's probably at 220 at this point, but you want him to get up to about 230 or 230. 235 by the fall. He needs to put on weight in quick because he's skinny right now, but he's super athletic. So like what I'm hearing about Dawson Merritt, it's all about him putting on weight. Two other guys I want to talk about. First one is Isaiah Mozee. Now, Isaiah Mozee, I've been high on ever since we flipped from Oregon. I think he's by far my favorite wide receiver that we signed in this process. Yes, even more than Cortez Mills. Isaiah Mozee, he's just like Dawson Merritt, where, again, he comes from that coaching background. His dad, Jamarion Mozee, again, now with Nebraska. When you're a son of a coach, it means you're gonna have that right mindset. You're gonna have that right work mindset. And Isaiah Mozee, from all intended purposes, he came to Nebraska. He's done the right things so far. He's trying to learn the playbook at an elite level. Again, he already has that versatility. He can play in the backfield. He can play slot. He can play the Y. He can play the Z. So I really, really like Isaiah Mozee, man. I would not be shocked if he's an early contributor. But again, all by him, continuing to put on weight as well and learn that playbook and making some plays in practice when we start up spring ball. One more guy I want to talk about in this video, Jamarion Parker, man. This is going to be a very important winter conditioning period for Jamarion Parker. I'm very happy that he was an early enrollee because right now, again, he's small. He's 175. You want to get that up to 190-ish. But Jamarion Parker, very elusive running back, has a little bit of physicality to him, man. If everything's right with Jamarion Parker, I think he can not only play as a true freshman, I think he might have an opportunity to start down the line as a true freshman just because of how dynamic Jamarion Parker is. But it's going to be in a very important period for him to put on weight. Been hearing good things about his explosiveness so far. And again, he came to Nebraska with that right mindset, man. He's got to earn everything. Nothing's going to be given to him. I like that, but I like that he was an early enrollee. So those are all the early enrollees for Nebraska. Again, if you go to the website right now, all the ones with pictures that look new, those are the early enrollees. The guys who do not have pictures, with the red background, those are not early enrollees. Christian Jones, very important that he's here too to learn the playbook. I don't think he's going to play right away. TJ Lateef, of course, man, that's huge for him, right? You want those true freshman quarterbacks to get their hands on the playbook as soon as possible, get used to being in film studies. Cortez Mills, for right now with Cortez Mills, I'm just looking on him maturing. That's it. Like, if he can go to Nebraska, have that right mindset, mature, lock into the team, become a leader, Cortez Mills would be an NFL draft pick. But we'll see if he can do that, right? You never know with some of these wide receivers, right? You just got to lock in, do all the things off the field correct. And if he can do that, we know how good of a player he's going to be. So those are pretty much all of the early enrollees that are worth talking about. Just want to give you an update around that, the guys I've been hearing good things about. Let me know your thoughts down below about all of Nebraska's early enrollees. Which one are you most excited to see in action? If there's a spring game, there won't be a spring game, but there's going to be like a spring practice probably that Nebraska fans could go to. So which one do you want to see? If you go to that spring practice, let me know in the comment section. Hey, if you made this far in the video, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go be great, go Rhule, and see you in the next one.